If you thought there were strict punishments in college for cheating on tests, in 2016, the U.S. Justice Department announced that Volkswagen would have to pay $14.7 billion dollars for cheating on a test. See, the test they cheated on was designed to determine how much toxic nitrous oxide gas their cars produced. They'd already lost their CEO, soon to be two, and their stock had plummeted. Far away from the glitz and glamour of the Volkswagen headquarters was a lab, described to be more like a body shop than a place of science, and there sat Parkersburg native and WVU engineer Dan Carter. He and his team at WVU Center for Alternative Fuel, Engines, and Emissions were the ones who first blew the whistle on the suspicious findings around Volkswagen's allegedly clean diesel. It was a report that landed him on Time magazine's list of the 100 most influential people of 2016. His story exemplifies not only some of the critical and important research done right here at WVU, but he embodies the humble and hard-working spirit of a famous West Virginian. Around the turn of the decade, Volkswagen, along with other car brands, went on a campaign of convincing Americans to buy diesel. The issue was their promise of a clean diesel was a complete lie. Volkswagen cars had been equipped with defeat devices, a type of software which would cause a car to artificially produce less emissions during lab testing. Nitrous oxide gases that these cars produced are harmful. They cause smog and can cause diseases like asthma, emphysema, and according to The Guardian, are linked to over 9,000 premature deaths annually in just the city of London. The scandal shook the automobile industry, but especially Volkswagen. The total cost of the scandal is unknown, but U.S. fines and settlements are alleged to be around $18 billion, $6.5 billion in Europe, and the costs and damage to the brand is hard to measure. For such a major scandal, the man who played such a key role couldn't be more unassuming. By all accounts, Dan Carter was a humble engineer who went about his own business. He had an interest in cars from a young age, tinkering with them as a kid, and chose to attend WVU because it was close to family. Long before the Volkswagen scandal, Carter and the WVU CAFE had played a pivotal role in national emissions testing. See, in 1998, 7 major manufacturers had been caught using defeat devices. So WVU was tasked with creating a new way to test emissions on the road. Carter and WVU created the Portable Emissions Measurement System. Apparently, nobody had told Volkswagen this because around a decade and a half later, the device would be used to expose the company. The story of this discovery is also the story of his 3 graduate students: Mark Besch from Switzerland, Arvind Thruvingadam, and Hemant Kapana from India. Just like Carter, they always loved to work with cars. When they heard that the International Council on Clean Transportation was looking for someone to test clean diesel engines, they figured that they should try and be selected. They calculated that they would need a grant of about $200,000 to carry out the experiments. They ended up receiving just 70. The students traveled out west to Los Angeles to find diesel cars to test, and they brought along Carter's old PEMS invention. They found something peculiar, which was that the emissions seemed to spike whenever they went up a hill or accelerated, which was not how the cars performed in the lab. Carter reported the anomaly and thought little of it. Besch reported it at a conference, and the team largely forgot about it. But unbeknownst to them, someone at the conference heard what they had said and set forth the chain of events that would eventually crash Volkswagen. As for where the team has been, well, most of them continue to work for WVU for at least a little while. Carter's state of the art lab is no longer part of WVU, but he continues to work out of it as part of a group called Energy Environmental Analytics. Mark Besch continued to work for CAFE up until 2022 when he took a role at Corning, one of the largest material science companies in the world. Arvind Thruvingadam is a part-time faculty member here at WVU, and Amantha Kapana now works for Mercedes. Carter is still humbly hard at work, just as always. Time magazine, in their biography of him, described him as, quote, an old-fashioned dad from a kinder America. I think that quote sums up not just Carter, but West Virginians as well.